Alright guys, welcome to another episode of The Floor is Yours. My name is Suryansh Basumalik. I'll be your moderator for the evening. We have with us judging Ishan Banerjee. He has debated on the show before. Welcome back, Ishan. And and our participants are Arav Midha, Kinjal Basu, Anirudh Chaudhary, Rohan Krisha Agarwal, Pradyum Nahata, and Aditya Raj Paul. For those of you who are returning, welcome back. And for those of you whose first time it is, which I think is Aditya Raj and Kinjal, welcome. We hope you'll enjoy. Now, the motion today reads: This House believes that drug addicts should be dealt with punishment rather than being helped. Speaking for the motion, proposing the motion are Anirudh Chaudhary, Pradyum Nahata, and Rohan Krisha Agarwal. And opposing the motion are Aditya Raj Paul, Arav Midha, and Kinjal Basu. So I think without further ado, we'll start with our first proposition speaker, which is Anirudh Chaudhary. Anirudh, you have 4 minutes. How would you like to divide your time?
Two and two.
All right. So the first two speakers who get to divide their time to get to rebut at the end. Anirudh, your first 2 minutes is ready. Are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. You may begin.
So the motion under the hammer reads: This House believes that drug addicts should be dealt with by punishing them rather than helping them. As the first speaker of side proposition, it is my utmost prerogative to prove to you how true and valid the topic really is. So first, let me start by defining the second half of the motion, which is helping them. So what do we mean by helping drug addicts? Basically, we mean by rehabilitating them or treating them. So who is going to treat these people? It is the state who is going to treat these people, and I think it will be a huge social financial burden on the state, and the state can't treat each and every drug addict in the country. US itself has 21 million drug addicts. Moreover, the side proposition is not against consumption of legal drugs prescribed by doctors. It stands against consumption of illegal drugs. If something is illegal, therefore they should be punished for doing so. Consumption of illegal drugs, they should be put behind bars, and the degree of punishment should be decided by the states. And drug abuse is one of the major outcomes of drug consumption, and such social malpractices should be definitely punished, and there's no second thoughts about treating them or rehabilitating them. And therefore it can be used by other law offenders as an excuse that if drug addicts or law offenders aren't punished, then why should they be punished for murdering someone or committing a petty crime? Okay. Furthermore, if we see that punishing drug addicts will instill a sense of fright among young teenage minds that they shouldn't indulge in drugs, they will simply think that it is a serious issue, because if they indulge in consuming illegal drugs, they'll be punished. And if this is not done, they will simply think that there is no adverse repercussions of consuming drugs, and consuming drugs is just simple. If you do something wrong, you will be treated by the state for free. So here I would like to rest my case, and I think I've made my point very clear. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Anirudh. And now we'll be taking questions on Anirudh's speech. Is there anyone with a question?
Yeah, I would like to ask a question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so Anirudh, you stated that rehabilitation or professional therapy or treatment will be a huge burden for the state. So how will you justify that the United States of America is spending $35,000 for the maintenance of one inmate for 1 year? So don't you think that will be a huge burden on the millions of taxpayers in the country?
So considering the fact that the numbers of drug addicts is certainly very huge, there is 21 million drug addicts in US, and if the state goes on treating each and every drug addict, it will what will the taxpayer basically think? That their money is not being used for their personal benefit, but treating the other residents of the country just because they have committed a social evil. So their money is not being used for their personal benefit. So treating drug addicts and using the taxpayers' money is, I think, something that goes against the purpose of taxing people, which is to benefit themselves. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Aurav, for your question. Thank you for your response, Anirudh. Is there anyone else with a question, or shall we move on? Kinjal, yes.
Yeah, so Anirudh, how has a drug addict has become a drug addict? This is the most important question. Could you like say?
Sir, that is not what we're debating today. The motion simply reads that should drug addicts be punished or treated. So it is given that a drug addict has become a drug addict. Now we're deciding that whether he should be punished or not. So I don't think this comes under the scope of the debate. Sorry, sir.
Would you entertain a question, Zari?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure. Go ahead.
Okay. Anirudh, tell me, a drug addict who has been coerced, since we know that most of the drug addicts all over the world, it
So
forms.
I can't hear you. Could you please repeat?
Am I audible?
Hello?
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Okay. So tell me, Anirudh, when you say that, okay, the people who commit such a social malpractice like being addicted to drugs, tell me, would you punish or jail those drug addicts who have been coerced into taking drugs, or who have been a victim of child abuse, who have been a victim of this coercion to take drugs, and who have a bad life? Would you apply the same principles for a coerced drug addict and a normal or voluntary drug addict? The same.
So basically, you're asking that would I give the same punishment to a child abuser and a drug addict?
I'm saying there are two types of drug addicts. One
Yeah.
who voluntarily do drugs, who are addicted to it.
Yeah.
The
yeah.
second, who are coerced into doing drugs. Right.
Yeah.
They're coerced into doing drugs. So would the same principles of punishment? You're
Yeah.
saying no.
This was going to be the premise of my second half of the speech. If a young mind under the age of 18 is being forced by someone or is under the influence of someone and is then consuming drugs, then he should definitely be treated. But if a person is voluntarily consuming illegal drugs, he should be punished.
Thank you.
So any further?
I don't think we'll be taking any more questions because you have another part of your speech, so we'll save it for then. So in the meantime, we'll now be moving on to our next speaker, which is the first speaker of the opposition, which is Aditya Raj Paul. Aditya Raj, are you ready?
Yeah.
Yeah, so how would you like to divide your time?
2-2.
2-2, all right. So you have 2 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Well, the motion for today's debate is the House believes that drug addicts should be dealt by punishing them rather by helping them. So our end motive is to lessen or the use of drug abuse or trafficking in India. But according to the latest report, that is the drug use report released by the United Nations in 2019, the drug use in India has gone up by 30%. Despite the fact that the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act has been in force from 1985. And there are various pathways or various provisions in this act, such as Section 39 and 64A, that allows the people caught with small quantity of drugs to be sent to rehabilitation centers, which is allowed by the law. But a study found by think tank conducted by NDTV has found that between 2016 to 17, almost none of the convicts were sent to rehabilitation camps and they were sent straight to prison. Despite of enforcing so many laws, we have seen that the rise in drug use in India has kept on increasing. And the end purpose of our conceding my time.
Thank you. You haven't exceeded your time. You have 30 seconds remaining. All right. So Would you like? So I think we'll give you 2.5 minutes there because you have 4 minutes on the clock. So that's what we'll do. So is there anyone with a question on Aditya's speech? Right. So I think seeing as Anirudh already spoke, we'll begin with Pradyum and then move on to Anirudh if needed.
Sir, you said that it is stated in law that drug addicts can be sent to rehabilitation or they can be imprisoned. And then you said that drug abuse is increasing in India. And considering that rehabilitation is leading to 40 to 60% relapse, how do you justify your statement?
I even said that a study by NDTV conducted has also stated that between 2017 to 18, almost no people who were convicted or accused of drug use were sent to rehabilitation camps. They were directly sent to jail. So the practitioners and the lawmakers and even the judges, they are not using the provisions that are in this Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substance Act.
Right. Thank you for your answer. Thank you for the question, Pradyam. Thank you for the answer, Aditya. Aditya, we'll take Anirudh's question now. Anirudh, go ahead.
So you give us a list of laws which prohibit drug use. So when a person consumes an illegal drug, don't you think that he's simultaneously breaking all such laws, and the fact that he's breaking so many laws, he should be punished rather than treated?
Well, the Narcotic Drugs and Psychotropic Substances Act has a section, that is the 39th section and 64A article, that provides for that there is an option for the convict or the accused who has been found guilty of using drugs to be sent to rehabilitation camp or prison. Well, that is the law. And the fact that most of the practitioners of law and judges, they haven't been using it, revealed by a survey between 2016, 17 and 18 is what I see.
So can I please be allowed to ask one more question? It's just a simple one-word answer.
No, I mean,
Okay.
I don't think I mean, Aditya has the second half of his speech and you have a rebuttal as well. So I think for now we'll just move on. But thank you for your question, Anirudh, and thank you for the response, Aditya. So the next speaker is from the proposition, which is Pradyum Nahata. Pradyum, are you ready? Right. So Pradyum, unlike the two of them, you will have 4 minutes, 4 minutes straight on the clock. And yeah, the floor is yours.
All right. So today I'm being from part of the proposition. I'm not going to say that drug addiction is a crime totally. I know that drug addiction is a disease and has to be cured. But how can we distinguish the two words punishment and help? Because punishment rests on the basis of making addicts realize that they were wrong. So punishment is also trying to help these addicts who have gone over the radar on consuming drugs. Now, if we simply tell them that yes, you were right to, it's fine, you consume drugs. Now we're gonna try to recover you. Now understand that recovery is a lifelong process, and what rehabilitation does is it poses the same world to the addicts as the world they were consuming these drugs in. Whereas what punishment does is punishment tells these addicts that they have a lot to lose, that what they did can be punished, and therefore can be improved with this punishment. Now realize the fact that if an addict is sent to prison, he's going to think about what he did. He's going to realize what he did was wrong, and that is what punishment means to do. Punishment means to diminish drug abuse through making the addicts realize that they were wrong. Whereas in rehab, the addict thinks that he's going to have an easy time recovering, and what he has done can be recovered easily. So this is going to create denial. The addict is going to think that he has consumed drugs, but now when he's going to rehab, he's going to be recovered eventually. And when he has finished, his course in rehab, he thinks that he has recovered. But then we know that a large portion of the people going to rehab have relapsed. As stated in my question before, 40 to 60% of people being rehabilitated do relapse. So now I would like to pose an example to you. Say a classmate of mine has taken bad action, but he is honest in admitting his mistakes. When he goes to his teacher asks him, what have you done? Have you done this or not? Does the classmate admit to his mistakes and ask for his punishment because he deserves this, or he says that no, I can recover from this, because what I did is not that intense that I need punishment? That is what happens in these drug cases. Many drug addicts go to court and say, and they volunteer for treatment. They think that they are not that liable that they need to be punished. So when we are sending an addict to rehabilitation, when we are sending an addict to recover, we are telling him, we are denoting it as something which is not that liable, which can be recovered very easily. But understand that sending him to think about his life, to think about the world, and to think about the fact that he can lose a lot is more important than simply normalizing his actions. When you normalize something as intense as drug addiction, when you normalize something as intense as drug addiction, you pose the fact that the drug addict doesn't have to worry about his life a lot. Now, as the first speaker of the opposition stated, that the main reason to punish or help a drug addict is to diminish this drug abuse. When you're trying to diminish this drug abuse, do you tell the addict that yes, you can come and we will recover you, but even after you relapse after that, we have aftercare services? How are you diminishing drug abuse? You're simply normalizing it, and then you're saying that yes, you have recovered. Whereas I conclude on the notion that yes, rehabilitation may be important, but punishment is more effective in making the victim realize that yes, he needs to be punished or he has a lot to lose. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for your speech, Pradyum. We will now be taking 2 or 3 questions on this speech. We will start with Arav Midha and move on to Aditya.
Ishan has left.
No, Ishan is right here.
I'm here.
Right. Arav, your question?
Yeah. In your speech, you mentioned that drug users in jail think about what they do, and in a way, they come to terms with what the sentence really means to them. But you need to realize that drug addiction is not a one-time thing. It results in long-term psychological effects, which may completely manipulate the thinking of a human being. So once a person is in jail, he or she will have prejudice against this sentencing that has been awarded to him, and he will think that it's not the right thing for him. And while staying in jail for a long period of time, his need for consuming drugs will be fueled. So in a way, after he is released from prison, he may or may not start consuming drugs. So how can you justify that imprisonment is a temporary
situation? Are you
situation?
implying that prison is totally ineffective in making the aggressors realize that they are wrong? Yes, I admit the fact that drug addiction is a very intense thing and has long-term psychological effects. Then how can we cure it as simple as a 12-week course in rehab?
So could I follow up, please?
While this seems interesting, I think out of respect to the rest of the speakers, we'll have to move on. But you can bring up this line of discussion in the next part in your speech, Arav, which actually is now. So you do have 4 minutes to make your case.
Aditya, I had a question, I think.
Oh yeah, Aditya did have a question. Aditya, yes, carry on.
All right. So at least in India, all the drug abuse people are put into punishment and then they are not sent to rehab, at least as of now. Yet we see that there's a rise of 30% drug use in India. So how do you answer that?
So understand the fact that globally what is happening is that many developed countries, they're also, like USA, they're also sending people to rehab, but they also have very rampant drug abuse. Whereas in India, a very not that developed country, there are a lot of things which push people towards drug addiction. I never said that rehabilitation isn't important. I said that rehabilitation is important, so is punishment. Whereas providing that choice between punishment and rehabilitation is important in diminishing drug abuse, but simply sending them to rehab and expecting them to recover is not going to do anything.
Right, right. All right. With that, we won't be taking any more questions on Pradyum's speech. But thank you, Aditya. Thank you, Pradyum. We will now move on to yes, Arav. Arav, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, Arav, you have 4 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours. The floor is yours.
All right. So the topic placed before us today reads that this house believes that drug addicts should be dealt with by punishing them rather than helping them. So we need to understand that drug addiction is a serious issue which is widely prevalent all around the world. Some addicts choose to make things better for themselves by seeking professional help and giving back to society, while others think otherwise and choose to go back to their old ways, even after being reprimanded for their crime by imprisonment. Being a member of side opposition, it is my prerogative to prove to you that treatment and counseling is a much more effective way to deal with drug addicts rather than imprisonment. So, imprisonment is a widely used method of punishment for drug addicts. However, we need to understand that in the process of taking drugs, people often undergo mental changes, and the methods of dealing with situation undergoes a severe nosedive. So, imprisonment will result in a person to undergo even more of these psychological issues, and as a result, this will fuel their needs for narcotic consumption. Therefore, even after an addict has faced jail time, he or she will eventually be compelled to do drugs so as to mask the bad time they face in prison. And on the other hand, drug addiction is also considered a form of a social disease. Not long ago, HIV was also considered as a social disease. So in that case, we are inclined to differentiate between those who intentionally hook other people with drugs so that they can become addicts and those who are the victims of this former group. Here starts the idea of treating drug addicts as victims. As victims, they deserve empathy, treatment, and assistance to get rid of their addiction through rehabilitation and professional help. Now, another reason why addiction treatment is preferred over imprisonment is its cost effectiveness. So now in the United States of America, where drug addiction is a rampant issue, imprisonment is the preferred form of apprehending these drug users. However, the cost of maintaining these inmates and the jails is quite high and takes a big chunk out of taxpayers' money every year. So in most states in the US, the cost of maintenance of each prisoner is about $35,000 a year. And this figure is expected to rise over the years with the growth of drug users. Imprisonment may be a better way of enforcing discipline for the time being, but they can only do so once these inmates are in prison. Once they're released, there is no guarantee that they will continue to maintain this code of discipline or will go back to their old ways. With addiction treatment, there is a degree of care are affected by this disease, making the addicts feel like humans and not like criminals who are being imprisoned. Several studies have also shown that addicts have completely sobered up after they have sought professional therapy rather than those who are imprisoned, since most of them turned out to be active drug users even after their sentences were over. So I would like to refute one of the points made by one of the speakers inside opposition. He said that drug usage while imprisonment has resulted in a large relapse in many of these prisoners. So now in my speech I mentioned clearly that there's no guarantee that imprisonment will ensure less drug usage in the future, even after their term is over. So here I would like to rest my case and thank you.
Right. Thank you, Arav. That was a rather timely ending. So I thank you for that. With that being said, we'll now be taking questions on his speech. So we'll start with Anirudh and move on to Pradyum. Anirudh?
Okay. So you've constantly mentioned that drug addicts are victims. So don't you think that they aren't victims? They're at the very first place law offenders because they're doing something which is illegal.
Right. So I agree with you
And
in
they
a
should
way.
be punished for the same.
Right. I agree with you, but See, drug addiction is not something like a petty theft or murder. It is something which is a psychological, it is cause, the results of this are several psychological issues which may or may not be resolved by imprisonment. There are several therapists who work every day to ensure that these drug addicts are provided a better life in the future. And that is imprisonment, as I also mentioned in my speech again and again, that imprisonment will fuel their needs for consuming drugs after their sentence. And yeah, that's basically my point for this answer.
Right. So thank you, Arav, and we'll now move on to Pradyum. Oh yeah, thank you, Anirudh also.
So you mentioned in your speech that imprisonment will lead drug addicts to consume drugs in the future, and then you said that people completely sober up after entering rehabilitation. It is very common. However, it being a global fact that relapse is a common part of recovery. How do you justify your statement?
So in a way, I am trying to say that imprisonment doesn't cause recovery at all. It will prevent the users from consuming drugs while they are in prison. But after they've served their sentence, there is no guarantee whether they will continue to follow this code of discipline that they were provided in prison, or will they be back to their old ways of consuming drugs. So
Right. So, with that being said, thank you both for your questions and the response. And with that, thank you for your speech also, Arav. We'll be moving on to the final pair of speakers, which we'll be starting with the proposition, which is of course Rohan Krishna Agarwal. Rohan, are you ready?
Yeah.
All right. So Rohan, you have 4 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
So today the House believes that drug addicts should be dealt with by punishing them rather than helping them. So today, as on side proposition, it is my sole responsibility to prove how true this fact is. So I just want to establish one fact right now. People who are going into rehab have a tremendous amount of relapse after they come out of it, and again start using substances which can only be stopped by sending them to jail or by punishing them in a proper way. Many results have shown that isolation, which takes place in most of the jails, has a severe impact on the brain and which makes the people who are using drugs realize how bad this thing is. For example, a person who's taking drugs. So there are many laws and acts established proving prohibiting the use of drugs. So don't you? So if we use drugs, isn't it breaking the law? And breaking the law always search for jail time. So, and I would like to refute one thing. What Arav brought up, he brought up the economic factor for this. He said that around $35,000 is spent on each inmate. But I would like to remind you that for the rehabilitation, it is no less. It's for 6,000 for 30-day period. So which if you multiply it by 12, it's 72,000 per year. This is almost double of what it costs for inmates. And so that's what. Now I would even like to bring up another fact that there's a detox unit in jail, which serves no less for people who are under these drugs and helps them get them out. That's what I would like to say.
Right. Is that it?
Yeah.
You have about 2 minutes more. Do you want to continue or should we move on?
No, it's fine. Thank you.
Right. Fair enough. Well, thank you, Rohan. We'll now be taking questions if there are any. Right. Ishan, go ahead.
Okay. Rohan, tell me, you were talking about how once you're taking drugs, you're breaking the law, and breaking the law deserves imprisonment. So, tell me, like I'll give you an example. In Portugal, all kinds of drug possession is decriminalized. There is nothing called breaking the law in Portugal when you're a drug addict. What would you suggest that in Portugal, do the people there deserve punishment? Do they deserve rehabilitation? And on what grounds do you suggest that? Why do you feel that, okay, even though they are, drug addicts, why do they deserve punishment or rehabilitation despite it not being a law?
It's just a social convention that they should be receiving punishment instead of rehabilitation. After rehabilitation, they will again come out and do drugs, which will only result in social dysmenia.
Thank you.
Is that it?
Suryansh, you had a question, right?
I didn't have a question. I was just asking you on the chat if I could. So I think we'll be moving on to the next speech for now. Thank you, Rohan, and thank you, Ishan, of course. So we'll now be moving on to the final speaker of the opposition, which is Kinjal Basu. Kinjal, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready. Am
Right.
I audible?
Yes, you are. Very clearly, in fact. So, Kinjal, you have, like I said, 4 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Thanks. So the topic given to us by the House is that the House believes that drug addicts should be dealt with by punishing them rather than helping them. Now, I do believe addiction is an illness, and addiction as a disease is a very chronic and progressive disease. Repeatedly taking drugs or alcohol leads to changes in the structure and function of the brain, but ultimately resulting in compulsive substance use. But then why to give people punishment? When people are arrested for drug related crimes, they are forced with criminal penalties such as incarnation. But is punishing people really that effective? After serving in jail time, people suffering from a substance use disorder will often continue to use substances, which frequently leads to further drug related crime that lands them back in jail. And I feel that punishment is not effective. Noted psychologist and author B.F. Skinner extensively said that a behavior that consequences that sorry that is punishment is likely to reappear after the consequences are withdrawn. Additionally, forcing abstinences through imprisonment isn't treatment, and it doesn't cure addiction. Individuals suffering from addiction must learn relapse prevention techniques, including those who may only have been abstinent due to incarnation. And court ordered treatments. For individuals with substance disorders, court ordered addiction treatment as punishment is an effective blend of consequences and treatment for long-term solution. According to research, one study reported that offenders who were in treatment for addiction but not incarnated experienced fewer social problems than offenders who were incarnated and were more motivated to change. This appears to show that the people respond better rehabilitative, rehabilitative approaches than to punitive ones. The criminal justice system can often apply legal pressure to encourage individuals to enter treatment, attend treatment regularly, stay in treatment, attend rehab programs for longer periods of time, achieve positive treatment outcomes. Individuals with substance use disorder benefit more from a rehabilitative approach rather than punishment, and society believes as well. People in recovery live more productive and rewarding lives. Social benefits from a decreased prison population, reduced crime rates, and a healthier population. Thank you.
Right. Kinjal, you have a minute to go. Do you want to continue or should we?
No, I don't want to continue.
All right. All right. So, after those 3 minutes, we will now be taking questions on his speech. Anirudh, do you have a question?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Suicide opposition has been constantly mentioning that the person can be treated or he should be punished. Which is the body who's going to decide whether he should be punished or treated, or what should be the degree of punishment, or for how long he should be treated? Who is going to decide?
As I mentioned earlier, sir, that court order treatment. So the law or the court will decide who, like, for how long or from when will the treatment last, or like, start from.
Right. So are there any other questions? Okay. Ishan, are you still with us?
No, I can move on.
Yeah, right. Okay. Okay. Now that we have wrapped up all the first speeches from every participant, we will now be taking the final two rebuttal speeches, which will be the remaining 2 minutes in each Anirudh and Aditya Raj's timings that they had earlier in the debate. So Anirudh, we'll be beginning with you, of course. So Anirudh, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay. So 2 minutes on the clock. The floor is yours.
Yeah. So they have constantly been mentioning that the court will decide what is to be done with the drug addict. So let me give you a simple fact. There are 21,000 judges in India, and there are 1.5 crore cases pending in India. So I don't think it will be viable to take drug addict cases to the court at the very first place. And when I asked the second speaker of side opposition a question that a drug addict is not a victim, he's a criminal offender at the law offender at the first place and a criminal, and he should be punished. He said, and I quote, "I agree with you." So the side opposition has already conceded to the debate. And furthermore, as the second speaker of side proposition has said, that in prison the person will be treated in a situation which is which is not similar to the situation he has been consuming drugs in. So he has a higher chance of getting rehabilitated fast. Okay. And furthermore, you can't enforce treatment. If you're choosing treatment as a way to deal with drug addicts, you can't enforce treatment. You can't force a person to get medically treated, but you can enforce punishment. So you can send a person to jail. A law can force a person to go to jail, but a law can't enforce someone to get treated. And I would like to present an analogy from a social perspective. Okay, if my neighbor is a drug addict, and he's come from treatment, my father will hesitate to send my sister alone to his house, because he can again relapse to taking drugs because he has just received some rehabilitation treatment. But if he had been to jail and then he has come out, my father will not hesitate to send my sister alone to his place, because he has been set free by the law. And now I would like to rest my case, and I think side proposition has proved their point, and they've given you facts that if a person
Wrap up.
commits a crime which is against the constitution, which is against the law, he should definitely be punished. And we have constantly been raising questions to the opposition, but they have not been replying. We had asked them that who will pay for the treatment, and we haven't still got the answer. Thank you. I would like to rest my case. Very proud to
Right.
oppose.
Thank you. Thank you, Anirudh. Now, is there anyone who would like to challenge his case? Right. Kinjal and Arav. Kinjal?
Yeah, so you said that there are very less numbers of like judges in India, right? So um, there are various psychologists in India, I believe. And don't you feel that even they can help the drug addicts to come out of this, period?
So, what is your question?
Whatever you
all
understand.
right,
to
all right.
answer.
Kinjal, just
Uh,
rephrase your question, just precipitate it a bit and make it a bit more
His
to
question
the
was,
point, because I think he couldn't infer from what you really said there.
Okay, okay, fine. So, sir, you said that there are a few number of judges in India than compared to, the number of cases, right? So then again, you see there are psychologists in various like many number of psychologists in India, right? So so don't you feel that even they can help them cure from drug addiction or something like that?
Sir, I didn't say that psychologists can't do anything. That's what you said, that the court should say judge the degree of punishment they should be given and what treatment they should begin. So I just refuted your point, sir. I didn't make a point on this. I just refuted your point. I didn't say that psychologists are incompetent or they can't decide. I just said that it is not viable to send such cases to jail or to court, I mean.
Right. Thank you. Anirudh. Thank you, Kinjal. We will now take Arab's question.
Right. So Anirudh, in your speech, you mentioned that your father, I'm considering him to be a citizen of the country. So are you saying that a normal Indian citizen would prefer a prisoner over someone who has been treated by a professional and has sought professional help and has relapsed? So it is a known fact that several companies and most of these businesses look down upon prisoners and do not employ people because of their criminal background. So are you saying that that imprisonment is a more favored thing for addicts who have left prison, so that they cannot could I rephrase my question?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Don't
Thanks.
worry.
No, it's fine.
Yeah. So
Anirudh,
you're
did you
saying
get it?
no? I'm just rephrasing my question. Yeah. So many businesses or many companies and businesses around India look down upon people and do not employ them because of the criminal background. So are you saying that it is preferred that criminals should be employed or criminals should be looked in better light after they have been released from prison?
Okay. So your question. So definitely, companies look down upon people who have a bad criminal background. But just because a drug addict will go to jail and he'll be set free by law, so he won't be looked down upon when the company checks his history, because it'll show that he was a drug addict, he went to jail, and now he's set free by law. So as of now, he's not a criminal anymore. And when a person goes under rehabilitation, he hasn't been set free by the law, or some serious law action hasn't been taken. So that's the point I'm trying to make, that where law comes into play and the law sets a person free, he can be said that he's not a criminal anymore just because he's been set free by the law. That's the point I'm trying to make here.
Right. Okay. So Ishan, is there anything you'd
I
like
do
to
have a
say?
question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I have indeed two questions. So you said these drug addict cases are not, viable to go to courts. Okay, but you're a proposition speaker. So how indeed will the drug addict be entitled to a imprisonment order?
Okay. So since I'm a speaker from the proposition, I do not support treatment, I support punishment. Everything will happen inside jail. Now your question is, who will decide what will happen inside jail? Okay. And
No. You're getting me wrong. Your point was that these cases are not viable to go to court. Okay, because of the number of judges. And you are proposing the motion. You're saying that okay, punishment is the method you want to you should impose.
Who will decide the punishment?
So tell me who instead gives the order for sentencing a drug addict. You're talking about a secondary step wherein the drug addict is in the jail. Who, if it is not the court, who will tell the drug addict or who will tell the police officers to put that guy into the jail?
So certainly the country has a board called the Narcotics Board, the Narcotics Department, and I think the Narcotics and the Drug Department should handle the charge because they're more competent in such matters than the court, and court has other matters to deal with, such as rape cases or certainly murder crimes.
And a second question, Anirudh, just on a speech. You said after a prisoner is released from jail, he's set free by the law. Tell me what your views are on him being set free by the law, definitely, but not being set free by the society.
Set free by
Do you
the
think that he is set free by the society? By the society, do you feel he, after the person comes out from a jail into
yeah,
your
yeah.
locality?
Yeah. So that's why I gave that analogy.
So do you think the society?
Yeah. That's why I gave that analogy with a social perspective, that your father will be more comfortable when he's set free by the law, rather than after he's received just 12 weeks of treatment without any law enforcement on him, without any law check on him. Here the law has checked on him and then set free. Here there hasn't been any check on him. He's just received treatment and he's back home.
Right. Ishan, do you have anything else to add on, or can we move on?
I'll speak later.
All right. So in that case, we'll now move on to the final speaker for this debate, which is in fact Aditya Raj Paul. Aditya Raj, are you ready? So for my final time this evening, Aditya, the floor is yours.
So most of the people who are imprisoned because of drug abuse are between the ages of 16 to 30, and that is they fall under the young driving force of the economy of any country. So, and most of the people who start using drugs is because of some kind of trouble in their lives, maybe stress, maybe depression. So they are in a very delicate state of mind. And when we send these kind of people into prisons where they are already very hardened criminals inside prison, they might interact with them, and the hardened and the seasoned criminals may even talk them into even more vicious crimes. They may come out of prison as not someone innocent child who did drugs for recreation, but someone with a very criminal mind. Well, and I would also like to add on that the people who are in prison, they lose valuable years of their life. And it not only affects them, but also their family, because most of the people are young, and they are the people who actually their family depends on for their income. And the record, that is, they have been imprisoned, will give them a mark that they have been jailed, which they have to carry their entire life, and they will be judged by society, any other company, no matter how, even if they are set free or not, because their competitors, they have not spent their time in jail against them who have. So they will obviously be in a disadvantage. As most of these people are young, I don't think that just because many people who do that just for recreational activities, or they are very immature, they deserve a punishment that is so harsh that is going to affect them through their entire life. And there are even studies found that in America, the people who have been convicted of drug abuse, people who dealt only with punishment, it has been found that 73% of them have converted back into using drugs. 73% have started using drugs within the 5 years after their release, whereas people who have gone to rehabilitation camps, the number drops down to only 23%. So with all the points that I stated, I would like to rest my case, and thank you.
Yeah. With that was a pinpoint ending to your speech, so thank you for that, Aditya Raj. With that, guys, we've come to we will now be taking the final set of questions on this speech. So we'll take one question. Yeah, we'll take it from Rohan.
And let's pitch in Pradyum as well.
Okay, Pradyum as well. So
you said that the people.
Go ahead.
You said that the people who are taking drugs are due to some stress or something because of that. But how do you justify the people taking drugs for leisure and then doing something wrong?
Well, if they are taking drugs and then they are doing something wrong, so they will be tried for doing the thing that they have done wrong. Not for that. That is two separate things. Like if they have done something wrong, they will be tried for the wrongdoing that they have committed, not for the drug use. The thing that we are talking about here are drug addicts who have been convicted because of possession or use of drugs, not because of the things that they have done because of usage of drugs.
Could I
So
have
I
a
don't.
counter question?
Ishan,
No.
I don't think we'll be taking any
No.
counter questions anymore.
Pradyum.
So, yeah, Pradyum, go ahead.
I have a two-part question within the framework of one. It's not going to take a lot of time. Okay, so you do agree that there are two kinds of drug consumers: people who take it because they have the purchasing power and just because they derive satisfaction from the drugs, and people who succumb to it because of certain problems in their life and because they don't have anything to look at, because they don't have anything to look to. Drugs become their only choice. You do agree, sir?
I didn't hear you. Can you say it again?
So there are people who derive satisfaction from drugs, and because they have the purchasing power, they find leisure in drugs. And then there are the people who look to drugs because they have problems in their life, and they look to drugs because of their distress. You do agree, as you said in your speech. So
Yes.
don't you think that the people consuming it out of leisure and then doing wrong things deserve a certain degree of punishment?
Well,
As you
if
said
they
in your
are
answer,
most of the people, huh? Yes.
as you said in your answer to the previous question, you said that they deserve a certain degree of punishment for what they've done after consuming drugs. So don't you think they deserve a certain degree of punishment?
Let me answer.
Yes.
Well, see, most of the people who are consuming drugs, they do it for recreational activities or maybe leisure. But the thing that they are doing after drugs, they won't be tried because of using drugs, but they be tried for the things that they have done wrong. So
Sir,
there
but that
might
is
be
a
some people.
drug-related activity. But that is a drug-related activity.
Yes.
No cross question.
So then
Okay.
the second part of the
Cross
question,
questioning.
people who take it out of
No
distress.
cross questioning.
What?
No cross
Let
questioning.
me answer one slide.
It was part of my question. I said I had a two-part question.
Go ahead.
Okay, so sir, don't now the people who have a moral compass who taking the drugs because of their distress, don't you think that because they have a good moral compass, don't you think that they think that they deserve punishment because they have done something wrong to harm the society? Don't you think that moral compass compels them to ask for punishment?
Let me just state it out to you that consuming drugs or any other form of any kind of drug, they are doing harm to themselves. That is, if I consume drug, that will harm my body, that will harm my mind. It won't affect you unless I do something irrational or maybe something violent out of that. So if they are tried for something violent or irrational that they've done out of drugs, they will be tried for the violent or irrational thing that they have done, not because of drug abuse. And well, if imprisonment of drug abuse doesn't guarantee that they will not use drugs, so I don't understand why we have to put so many young children, young people into prisons just for some recreational activities that they have thought maybe they will look cool or something.
So my
Right.
question was a yes or no answer, but since we are short on time, I think.
It's okay, Pradyum. I mean, we still have Ishan, and he heard your question, he heard his answer, so I think he'll be able to infer from that itself. So, you'll just have to, and I think Ishan has the best judgment, has the judgment call here. So, and I trust it. So, I think with that, guys, we've come to a close for today's debate. And yeah, I hope you all enjoyed. Is there anything you'd like to say before we move forward?
Suri.
Yeah.
We have the question for the house.
Oh, right. I'm so sorry. Yes. Ishan,
I'm marking
Ishan has prepared a question for the house that each person will get
do
about
you
a
have
minute to answer. Yeah.
Do you have a guys? Just give us a minute. Suri and I will discuss it.
All right, just a minute, guys. All right, guys. So Ishan and I have spoken to each other, and we've come up with a question, and the question reads as follows: should there be a hierarchy in the treatment of different drug addicts, considering the fact that there is fact that this house has placed punishment higher up higher up than help in that hierarchy? So I'll just repeat it again.
Basically, should there be basically a hierarchy in the treatment of different drug addicts, considering the fact that this house has placed punishment higher up than help in that very hierarchy? We want your opinion irrespective of your stance. You can be for, like forget your
Okay.
for, against, whatever. Tell us whatever you want. If you're for, you want to part with, against, do that. It's your choice. Give us your opinion.
So basically, the question is, since punishment is at a higher hierarchy, should we keep it that way or should we change it? Like
It's not
everyone.
assumed. It's not assumed. You guys have made Suryansh and me believe that punishment is higher in the hierarchy than help. It has been shown, it has been propagated by the house today. That, okay, punishment is the aggrandized form. It is the form of enlightenment. Okay, so we just want to see how well you guys can prove that. Basically, the proposition today came up and spoke about, oh, punishment is
I'm
the
not
only option.
getting
Punishment.
what you're trying to say. I'm not getting what you're trying to say.
Yeah, same.
Okay,
Okay.
so he's saying that
So
for punishment. Okay,
I'll
go
take it
on.
over. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So today, basically, there is an existing hierarchy. Okay. In terms of any kind of punishment. Okay. And help falls in a particular way of, but it falls in the hierarchy. Now, after watching you guys debate today, proposition, opposition, both, it has been established in the house that, okay, there is a general consensus that punishment is placed higher up in the hierarchy than help. It is shown that help is ineffective. It is not effective. Punishment is the effective one because it is basically the law. The law is mandating it, right? So in terms of that, we want all of you to answer the question that should there be a hierarchy in treating different drug addicts differently? For example, for example, Snoop Dogg, who voluntarily does drugs, and his addiction, should he and a person who has been coerced into doing drugs, who has been addicted by, unforeseen
Yeah,
circumstances,
alright.
should they be treated the same? Considering the fact that it is higher up, punishment is higher up than help in today's debate. Not in actual, but according to today's debate.
Because like there are, so
So
his point is there are different situations, like different drug cases have different situations, right?
Should they be
someone did it for this reason,
treated differently?
yeah. So what should it be
and how do
treated
you
differently?
judge? Yeah, exactly. Punishment, ki help, ki kya, it's you for you to tell us. Okay. Sorry, we can give them like 2 minutes for this. Okay.
Also, it's going in reverse order, right?
Yeah. So Kinjal will speak first and Anirudh will speak last.
So basically, I'm against this motion because it depends on the nature of the drug
No,
consumed,
just a
right?
second. Just a second. Like, is this your speech you're starting?
No, it's not a speech. So basically, this is my answer for the question you gave, and I just said that
Yeah, it's your opinion, right?
Yeah, it's my opinion.
So Riyansh, 2 minutes. 2 minutes at time.
What?
Yeah. Let's give them 2 minutes.
All right. We're taking a small break now.
We're starting the recording.
Yeah. So all right, guys. Rohan, I think Rohan Agarwal has some internet issues, so he'll be back with us shortly. If not, we'll just have to carry on with what it is. And yeah, I think we'll be starting from the reverse order. So we'll start with Kinjal and then move all the way up the ladder to Anirudh. So each person can make their stance clear on this on the aforementioned question. So yeah, Kinjal, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Question.
So you have a minute. Go ahead.
Suryansh, we
Yeah.
got the question. We got the question.
Repeat the question. Yes. So the question again for all of your benefit is, should there be a hierarchy in the treatment of different drug addicts, considering the fact that this house has placed punishment higher up than help in that hierarchy? So when you had all the time you needed to infer, and yeah, make your case. Kinjal, you have a minute. The floor is yours.
Thank you. So I do believe that there should be a hierarchy in treatment of different drug addicts. First of all, my first point is the nature of the drug consumed. So, as Ishan said, that people like Snoop Dogg, they consume harmful drugs and which are of course addicting. But there are also people who consume medicine in enormous manner. Like they are even addicted to medicines, right? So they can be helped by counseling and by psychiatrists, and uh, then they can also be helped by their family members. But people like Snoop Dogg, they should be punished, and they again should be treated well too. This is my point.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, just for the benefit of the other debaters, I won't be Suri, and I want you to give us a justification with the opinion you're giving us. Okay? We expect there to be no double standards. We expect you to give us a proper justification for the opinion you have.
Right.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, today's debate was regarding punishment versus treatment. So, if punishment is upheld as the thing that we are going to do if someone is convicted of drug abuse, so why are we talking about treatment of different hierarchy?
It's help.
Could you just repeat the question? I couldn't hear you properly.
No, since the House has accepted punishment over treatment, so why are we talking about different kinds of treatment that will be
It hasn't
implemented?
accepted. It hasn't accepted. The general air or the general atmosphere of this debate was that punishment is more effective than help. Okay. Now I want, if you are parting with that, I want you to justify why it is. Because, in 4 minutes, all the debaters did not, properly justify their stance. So I'm giving you this specific year to justify if yes, why, if no, why. It's completely up to you. Okay. So let's move on. Rohan.
I just reconnected. Let me just read the question.
Right. Rohan, what we'll do is, Rohan, you read the question. So all you have to do is basically prepare your opinion and your justification behind it, and we'll come back to you all the way at the very end. So in the meantime, we'll move on to Arav, and we'll come back to Rohan later, as I said. Rohan, Arav, you have a minute to make your case. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
All right. So considering that drug addiction is something that everyone faces, there is no such there can't be a scenario where one person who has drug addiction and another famous person who has drug addiction should be treated separately, since the repercussions of this activity are the same for everyone. So considering this, that everyone will face the same problems, I don't think there should be a hierarchy of punishments or treatments that should be meted out towards these drug addicts. So yeah, that's my answer to this question.
Right. Thank you, Arav. That's quite crisp. And now let's see what Pradyum has to say with regards to this. Pradyum, are you ready, or because your camera's spinning around in circles? Yeah. Okay. So Pradyum, you have a minute to make your case. Go ahead.
Yes, I do believe that there should be a hierarchy in treatment. As I stated in my speech, that punishment coincides a lot with help. Punishment is there to make the aggressor realize that that he has done wrong. That is why punishment is there. So I realize that that jail time should be there to make the victim of drug addiction realize the fact that he has done something wrong, that he has a lot to lose. But sometimes prisons go too far in doing that. They make the drug addict think that is the world, that the prison is the world, that is what he will be facing after jail time. So yes, if a person has been coerced into doing drugs, there should be less enforcement. There should be the prison should be trying to make him realize that yes, he has a lot to lose. Yes, you have done something wrong, but that does not define you. Whereas if a person is taking it for leisure, that person should the laws of the real world should be enforced on him to make him realize that you cannot just do that for fun, right? And on concluding, I realize that the main objective is same.
Wrap up.
but the process has to be different to attain that same objectives because there are different intensities of drug
All right,
consumption.
all right. Thank you, Pradyum. With that being said, we'll now be taking the final three. We'll be counting down the last three speakers. Third on the three is Aditya Raj Paul. Aditya, go ahead, make a case.
Alright, so as I stated in my speech, so the people who are generally convicted of drug abuse are mostly from 16 to 30 years of age. So there are also people who are above that age. There are people who have been using drugs for recreational activities with perhaps no history of criminal offenses. And there are also people who have had a criminal uh, record and they have been caught using drugs and they have been imprisoned for that. So of course, there are different people from different walks of life in different situations that have been under this law and been punished under this law. Hence, of course, there has to be a hierarchy of treatment if there is to be one. And basically, so there are people who have just begun drug abusers, like maybe teenagers, but there are also people who have been doing it on a regular basis. So the kind of addiction that they have expose themselves to is very difficult to remove. Whereas people who have just begun drug uses, like the teenagers, maybe that they don't need as much as help as the ones who have been doing it for a very long time. So of course, with these points, I would like to say that a hierarchy is definitely needed when it comes to treating the people who have been accused of drug abuse. Thank you.
All right. With that being said, we'll now be moving on to the final case. Final answer to the question, which is Anirudh. So Anirudh, you have, like I said, you have a minute. Go ahead.
Yeah, so there definitely needs to be a hierarchy. There are two type of drug addicts. One who consume legal drugs prescribed by doctors, and one who consume illegal drugs which is not prescribed by doctors and which is against the law. So we as proposition support consumption of legal drugs, and there shouldn't be any punishment for that. And if someone consumes drugs which are illegal and go against the law, they should definitely be punished because they're committing a criminal offense. And furthermore, if somebody under the age of 18 consumes drugs involuntarily and is influenced by someone, he should get social counseling, and the person by whom he's influenced should be put to jail. Thank you.
Rohan, are you ready to speak? And
Yep.
we can get over with this.
Yeah, Rohan, you have a minute as well. Are you ready?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So I believe that there should be a hierarchy in the treatment of different drug addicts, because not all the drug addicts are same and have not reached that stage in the same path. So there are some people who do drugs for leisure, while some are forced to do it. And you can't treat a person who's doing drugs for leisure the same way as you're treating the person who is doing the drugs for who's being forced to do drugs. So that's what. So a person doing for leisure has to be treated severely, while the person who's doing who's being forced into doing drugs should actually not face severe punishment, but should have a regularized and small punishment which will make him realize that if you do that knowingly, it will cause you a lot of harm.
I just have a clarification from moderator. All right. So the question was assuming that punishment is going to be there. That is the assumption in the question, right?
Well, I mean, that is, if that's what you infer, sure. I mean, it depends.
You
The whole point of this question is for you to say, what do you think about it, and why do you think that about it?
All right.
All right. So with that being said, now that Rohan's also wrapped up, guys, we have now come to a conclusive close to the debate. And I believe this was a bit well. I was talking to Ishan about these topics earlier, and we thought that this wouldn't be that productive. But I personally, I don't know about Ishan, but I was frankly a bit rather surprised by how productive it actually was, because I think multiple speakers provided different topics, and I'm no judge. I think Ishan can give you better clarity on it. So Ishan, why don't you take over?
Yeah, yeah, okay. So, guys, first of all, amazing debate. Amazing debate considering like we have two new people, Kinjal and Rohan. I think Rohan was there in the previous debate, but yeah, amazing debate. But if I were to speak from both the sides, that is proposition and opposition, there were certain fallacies that that were very prevalent in today's debate. Now, the first thing I would like to put forward is the fact that after voluntarily consuming a certain drug, it after that it is not really left to choice. After you have after consuming a drug, it's not really a choice after that, because that is the next step. Addiction is the next step, and it does not remain the fact that oh, I voluntarily want to consume a drug or I don't want to. It's like opium. You want to consume it day and night, constantly. So it's not really a choice, number one. And in reference to that, what the proposition speakers have put forward today is the fact that ठीक है, we are talking about imprisonment for these drug addicts. Fine, taken. But let's understand that once you are pushing these people into the jail, it's an immediate shock to these people. Sir, what help is doing is it is gradually helping them to transition from a particular state to the other. What imprisonment is doing to them is the fact that it is forcing them into a particular place with certain other inmates, which is causing them huge psychological problems. In context to this, the very flaw with what maybe Anirudh said, what other people, what proposition speakers said about about imprisonment, and understand that it's a pattern of the society. Okay? It's a cycle of imprisonment. Now, once a person is imprisoned, as Raj very correctly said, they come out as hardened criminals. What happens after that is a loss of employment first, and secondly, it is a huge social exclusion that the person faces. So let's understand the stakeholders here. The stakeholders for today's debate were the drug addict and the state. Now imagine how big a liability it becomes to the state when you are releasing out a hardened criminal, and it's basically you are leaving him out in the cold and leaving no choice for him or her. So what do they do? What is the next thing that they do? They go back to the same thing that they did, or they engage themselves in more criminal activities to earn a living, or they think that is where they belong. So they are entrapped in a particular cycle of imprisonment when you are implementing this form of a punishment. And thirdly, if I were to give you clarity on today's debate, no one talked about what punishment is. I really wanted someone to come here and say, oh my God, okay, this is the standard of the debate. This is the standard I'm setting. This is punishment for me. What kind of a punishment? Punishment can be a fine. It can be community services. It can be restitution. It can be so many things. It can be rehabilitation. No one talked about that. And if I were an opposition speaker saying that, okay, help is the prevalent form, which is better, I would have said, boss, you are telling a drug addict to pay a fine. Bullshit. Because he'll pay the fine, he'll go back to doing what he was doing. That is not a method. Second, community service, BS, because you're doing community service for 400 hours, 600 hours, it is doing nothing to you. It is doing nothing to you. If a drug addict actually understood the value of community service, he wouldn't be addicted to a certain drug. He wouldn't be addicted to a particular drug. Restitution does not come into the picture here. The only two other forms of punishment that are left out is imprisonment and rehabilitation. The two very stakeholders of today's debate. Now, what I wanted is for you to do a cost-benefit yay. Anirudh, again, I am so sorry to tell you, it was a very close miss. Very close miss. Because of certain terms that were used by the debaters today, like criminal offense. By consuming drugs, you are committing a criminal offense. It's not a criminal offense because possession of drugs is very subjective. You possess heroin in Portugal and you possess heroin in India. They're two different things. Just like in India, pornography is banned, and somewhere else, pornography is not banned. Okay, so you cannot say that pornography is a criminal offense because it is subjective, right? And lastly, a lot of people today spoke about setting free by the judges, setting free by the law. Talked about the law. They talked about very good, very good. I loved it how you guys judged the parameters. But you know, when you're set free by the law after a prisoner comes out of jail, you're not really set free by the society. Because imagine yourself going to prison and coming out of the society, no one will accept you. No one will accept you as a, I was worthy of living in that society. Anirudh, I would like to give you a personal year. You talked about the lack of the number of judges. You talked about the priority of cases in a particular court. I would have loved it if you would have rephrased it to this, that okay guys, let's see the current times, right? Let's take for example India. Let's look at the current times when everything is closed. This debate is happening in the current context. We are under lockdown. Okay, the very fact that we have access to justice is the biggest right that we have. And right now, if you were saying that, it is not a priority for the state or the court to look at, they have bigger cases to look at, like rape, like these kind of things, you could have said that the mere access to justice is the very success or the victory of the country, right? If you were making that case, Anirudh, I would have said, here, the access of justice is the only victory that you have. Bolo.
Yeah, but I proposed an alternative, which is the narcotics both. So, like, you are getting justice, not by the court.
Not really, though. I mean, yeah, that was a fair point that you made.
But so do you fail to realize that the court will give more priority?
Who would you give more weightage to? The Supreme Court of India or a subcommittee? That is the narcotics.
Definitely the Supreme Court of India, but the Supreme Court of India has more important cases to deal with, so the rape cases or the murder cases.
That is where you're wrong. That is where if you are faced with a law student, he would have ripped you apart, wherein he would have said, except for if it is a heinous crime, what you talked about. Those are rarest of the rarest cases. Rape, murder, these are heinous crimes. These are rarest of the rarest cases. Okay, so the Supreme Court cannot prioritize. Okay, between कि अच्छा मैं एक merger and acquisition का case देखूंगा, मैं इसका case नहीं देखूंगा, or I'll look at this, I won't look at that. Definitely, they have pending cases. That's not how it works. If that was the thing, Anirudh, if that was the hierarchy that the Supreme Court established, then it wouldn't have been an independent body. It would have created a huge bias. Okay. So that's the very point. And apart from that, I think Suri enjoyed the debate the most.
It'll be unfair on the part of someone who's trying to seek justice in a rape case or a murder case, but the Supreme Court is
that's a completely different debate.
Drug case.
That's a completely different debate on what the Supreme Court should prioritize. I am not telling you here.
I mean, if I may step in on that record, we can have a separate debate about this, to be honest, because I mean, this is like Anirudh has a completely understandable point, and so does Ishan. I see why one would agree with Ishan. I see why one would agree with Anirudh. So this is something that is disputable, and we can dispute this next week as well. So
and Ishan, I would like to make one more point, like if you allow me to.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So what I was trying to say, that I refuted the point of treatment by saying that if we choose treatment as a way to deal with drug addicts, then you can't enforce it. If the person who's a drug addict says that no, he doesn't want to go on treatment, doesn't want to go on medical treatment, you can't do anything with it. But if we choose punishment as a way to deal with drug addicts, then you can enforce it.
And that is where you lost out in marks. So when you're saying that rehabilitation or help does not have any enforcement, you should have said, boss, when you're going for help, when you're going for rehabilitation, there cannot be any wiggle room. There cannot be any room. There cannot be any space for the drug addict to say that, nahi yaar, aaj man nahi kar raha. There cannot be. that is where imprisonment works. Okay? The very standard of rehabilitation or help today is a fact that if you place punishment and help in front of a drug addict, what would the drug addict choose? Rehabilitation or help? Okay? Wouldn't choose
No,
punishment.
no, sir. I'm not giving him an option. The only option he has in front of him is treatment or no treatment. You can go under treatment or you'll just be free. Like I'm giving you that scenario that if we choose treatment as the way to deal with drug
Definitely
addicts,
treatment. Definitely treatment.
no, but if that's what I'm saying, there's a flaw in that situation, because if the drug addict says no, then you can't do anything with that person. But in case of punishment, the law can enforce it. You can't enforce treatment.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
definitely.
go ahead. We'll wrap up with that.
Well, I mentioned in my speech at the
By
beginning that
16 should be
sections
done.
39 and 64, Article 64A, there is a provision that the people that are accused they are caught with small quantities of drugs can choose rehabilitation or imprisonment. That is the choice of the accused. That is within the narcotic drugs and
Right. So
psychotropic
it is left
substances
up.
Act.
It is left up.
Aditya,
So the point is that
definitely. See, the very question Suri and I gave you guys was the fact that should there be a hierarchy? Anirudh, you're right where you are. Okay. Yeah, okay. The law or the court, basically punishment, it gives you more enforceability than help or mere treatment. But that's where the question comes in. Should there be a hierarchy? Like, for example, in murder cases, would you treat a 5-year-old and a 50-year-old the same way? Both have committed murder. Would you treat it the same way? Some will say yes, some will say no. Definitely. I was in a debate where I said yes, they should be treated the same way. Here, similarly, I would like to tell you here that when there's a hierarchy, okay, there's a 12-year-old who's addicted to drugs, and there's a 60-year-old who's addicted to drugs. You would want treatment than punishment for a 12-year-old, because each and every state, each and every country follows the logic of deterrence. Each and every country wants to deter it.
That's what I
Right?
said. That
That's
if
the youth.
if the person is below 18 years, he should receive counseling and stuff. That's what I said in my speech.
See, now you can't, if your proposition, you can't give alternate models. कि अच्छा ये होगा, इसमें
Right.
बोल रहा हूँ,
From the
इसमें the opposition is right, but इसमें the proposition is right.
No, from the very beginning, I've been saying that if he's influenced by another person, if he's influenced, voluntarily consume कर रहा है, तब फिर तो क्या बोलते हैं, he has to be punished, whether he's 12 or whether he's 60. But if he's influenced and he's under 18 years, then he should receive counseling and stuff.
right. I mean,
How are you keeping it within
The very
framework of
fact you
punishment?
say this is the fact that you weaken your argument, because you cannot debate you arguing this that okay, is case mein definitely punishment, but the
look,
moment you get a but,
at this point, look,
it's not.
if I may step in, I mean, Ishan, hold on.
Yeah, definitely.
At this point, Ishan has come to a conclusion and he said it for a reason. I mean, I'm pretty sure Ishan understands why you believe this, and Ishan, being a human being, he can infer, right? So he is not the judging is based on what you did over there. See, right here, I will tell you myself, you justified it much better than you justified it over there, right? But we are talking.
Yeah, exactly.
So Ishan over here is, I'm pretty sure he's impressed by how you did it now, but he has been asked to mark.
Definitely.
He is here to mark you on what happened.
This little drama was better than that little drama, because all debates are dramas. They're not speeches. So this was better than what you actually spoke, because there you were debating on basis useless things. You could have omitted a lot of stuff. That's what I feel about Anirudh's speech, and in general, it was
Yeah,
a
I
very
mean,
good debate.
to that
I got to
respect, I
learn a
think-
lot of things. Got to learn a lot of perspectives.
Yeah, I mean, to that respect, I think now it's we had some more debate after the main debate, so I think we should just wrap up and I think Ishan, do you have the marking ready? Can you call out the awards?
Yeah. Okay.
Third, second,
So
first. Yeah.
the best speaker for today, according to me, is Pradyum Nahata at 24.5 marks. The second best speaker today, according to me, is Anirudh at 24 marks. And the third best speaker today, it's a tie between Aditya Raj and Rohan at 23 marks. And I would also like to mention, Kinjal, don't be disheartened because you were at 20. Okay. And it's a very close call. It's a very close call. And don't be disheartened at all. It was a brilliant debate. It's just that who could speak less of nonsense and who could not. I felt Pradyum was on point. He spoke, he cut the clatter basically. His speech was on point, his answers were on point, perfect. Anirudh, I have in fact written it down why I marked you 0.5 less, because you were constantly ranting about how it is a criminal offense. Possession of drug is a criminal offense. You never stated whether it is in India, whether it is in Europe, whether it is in
So-
America, Australia.
Listen to him.
So
listen
I
to
think
him.
I was not able to make it very clear, but I always mentioned consumption of illegal drugs. I use the word consumption of illegal drugs. I use this phrase every time. So if it's illegal in a country, it's a criminal offense.
No. If you see verbatim in the last speech, I in fact wrote to Surya.
Yeah.
You twice you said, "Oh, it's a criminal offense possessing drugs." Maybe you
I
forgot
didn't use the
to
word
say
possession and consumption. Consumption.
No, I mean, yeah, I heard
even
it. I was talking,
consumption
I
of
spoke to Ishan
drugs.
about it when we were drawing up the question.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it may have been a slip of tongue, but I think because of what happened there and you couldn't correct it. I mean,
I
Kinjal
mean, I
also
think
has
it's
got
the
to go.
same. 24.5 and 24 is like, it's like,
Yeah, so I mean, you can talk to Ishan about this on private chat, so we can
Yeah.
get to. We
yeah,
can
definitely.
So let's
It was
just,
an amazing debate, guys. Pradyum, congratulations.
yeah,
Anirudh,
I mean,
Rohan,
I'm
Arav,
pretty sure
Raj.
Pradyum's on top of the world because I think among all the people that we've had so far, Pradyum's been here for the most number of times. And
Oh,
Pradyum's
wait, should I call out the... Sorry, I
Basti-
didn't call out Arav's mark.
right. Yeah.
Right, should I?
Yeah. What was Arav's mark?
Arav was at 21 and Kinjal was at 20.
Okay. Right. So it was
In
it
fact,
was quite
I
nice
liked
of
Rohan's...
her position.
So basically, the
I
motion
liked-
has been carried.
Yeah, I personally liked Rohan's speech because Rohan, which class are you in?
And
10. Okay, 10. And it seems like you're new to debating.
bit, yeah.
In fact, yeah, Suryansh as well. The way you tackled your answer to my question, the way you spoke, irrespective of how much you spoke, it was very good for a first time. I think that Suryansh, we need to give it
Yeah.
to him. The way
As in
he
quite
tackled the
I
question.
mean I thought when Ishan put that question, like me personally, I was a bit stumped by it. I was thinking how could I tackle it? And I first told Ishan, I wonder how he's gonna answer this. I think he's just gonna say I don't know what to say. I genuinely thought that. And after you
There are
answered
two
it
types
the way
of
you did,
questions.
the way you
One you can
tackled it,
answer, one you can dodge.
yeah.
So he
But
dodged
you
it
didn't
very
dodge
well.
it. You took it head on and you took it quite well. You took it in a strategic manner, even if you did it unknowingly. The way you did it, and if you're doing it unknowingly, it shows that 2 years down the line you'd be
You have the potential.
better. So just like keep at it. Like I mean, even on the last debate you were here, I told you the same thing. Just keep at it.
Yes. Thanks.
Yeah.
Just a bigger shout out to Suri. An amazing thing you're doing, bro. Hands down. Amazing. We need to give it to him.
All right.
This is autonomous debate.
This is I think the 8th one. Well, technically the 10th one, but the 8th one that I'm putting up. So,
Congratulations, everyone. Thank you
yeah.
so much.
Congrats to everyone. I hope all of you all enjoyed. It was quite the debate we had. And yeah, I mean, with regards to what Ishan and Anirudh had, we could maybe discuss the Supreme Court related thing on the next one. So we look forward to both of you going head to head as well. So yeah, I think we'll see you on the next one, and that's what that was. See you.